ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. השיב איתי לבית אדוני כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. שיב איתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו.
I should probably have poor Molly stop singing Psalm 27 for a moment. We are trying to link to the Zoom so that we could get names for Kaddish, and I was having trouble doing that. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's nice to see you. That's Psalm 27, which is our psalm that we sing all the way through Elul. We're coming to the end of that, as Rosh Hashanah is in just a few days. I'm going to read from Mishkan Halev, which is the prayers for Slichot and the month of Elul. And this is called A Time for Turning. From Ecclesiastes or Kohelet, we read, To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Now is the time for turning. The leaves are beginning to turn, just now beginning to turn from green to red and orange. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong, and this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other, for in isolation there is no life. Now we turn to page 2 in our prayer book, and we invite Terry Starrett and Tim Littman to the Bima to Light Shabbat candles. The president of the Women of Reform of, I'll get this right, Women of Rodef Shalom and the Brotherhood.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushenu b'mitzvah v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Continue on page 24 with Shalom Alechem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Elohim, HaKadosh
Untitled Shabbat with Psalm 95 on page 12, Lechuna Ranana at the top of the psalm, on the top of the page. Come, let us sing to God. Continuing on page 16 at the top of that page, this is from Psalm 98, Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor, bekol zimra. 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 Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor, bekol zimra.
And on page 20, Lechadodi, paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on paragraph 9, we rise to greet the Shabbat presence as it enters through the doorway. Same door that we came in.
Lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor שבת תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונה סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
So pretty. Let's take a moment to wish one another Shabbat Shalom. If you haven't seen some of the people in this room, you might want to go and introduce yourself. Welcome people into our space.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Nancy and Bob.
How you doing?
Shana Tova. And good Shabbos
you.
to you. And John.
Hi, John.
Hello,
Shabbat
Carolyn.
Shalom.
Tova.
Shabbat
Shalom,
Rabbi
Bob.
Birch.
Shalom, Carolyn. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi
Shalom,
Birch. Shana
everyone.
Tova.
Shana Tova and
Shana
Shabbat
Tova,
Shalom.
everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Marjorie.
Peter.
Hello,
Shabbat Shalom.
Hi,
Marjorie.
Margie.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Nance.
Hi, Marge.
Hi, Jay. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
I like those
Hi,
sunglasses.
Helen.
And Shana Tova to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great New Year.
Happy
Hello,
healthy one,
Jocelyn.
everybody.
Susan Lother.
Natalie.
How are you?
Hope we're done with COVID by next year.
I hope so.
Hello, Helen.
Olavai is
Lullaby.
Hello, Joan and Jerry.
Continue on page 22 with a psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92.
Here's Helen.
Please mute everyone.
Alei
turn ahead to page 145 for Chetzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה יעלם הדברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה יריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירה בעלמה ואמרו amen.
Please rise for Baruch. Please rise in body and or spirit. Page 146. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim ubituna mishana itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono boreyom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla Umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. Elchai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world together. In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet.
We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp, as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. If there is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. So when will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Adonai Yaakov, ugealo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
There's two little short readings from Mishkan Halev, the prayers for Slichot. The first one is a phrase in it, we lie down in darkness, which is the title of a novel by William Styron. Some of you may remember that. We lie down in darkness. This day with its burdens passes away. Raise us up to the light of a new day. Change us with the season. Give us rest and renewal. Make us eager for the dawn. And another poem. Peace comes with the sunset. Cool breezes ease the heat of day. All things settle into stillness. Gentle song of crickets, moonrise, and the silence of night. Give us shelter in your presence. Bring peace to those who yearn for peace. Enfold us in your quiet. Let our fears find rest in you.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Turn the page. Shamru is at the top of the page, coming from the book of Exodus, our commandment, actually, our obligation, our responsibility, or our opportunity, if we want to understand it, to keep and observe and celebrate Shabbat.
ושומרו בני ישראל
body and or spirit for the tefillah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei HaKol, Bezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishinei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ne'eman Atah L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kdoshim b'chol yom yihaleluch Hasela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. On page 160, we read together, May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfills its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Be gracious, Adonai, our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. Oh, may our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge you are near to all who seek you in truth. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst, in the midst of our people in Zion. Blessed is Adonai, whose presence renews Zion. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed.
Ve'al kulam, ve'al kulam, yitbarach ve'yitromah, yitbarach ve'yitromah, shimcha malkeinu tamid le'olam va'ed. Ve'al kulam, ve'al kulam, yitbarach ve'yitromah, yitbarach ve'yitromah,
We continued with Shalom Rav, the last of the prayers in the Tefillah, the last of the blessings in the Tefillah. We follow Shalom Rav with our own silent prayers.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Letov einecha levarich et amecha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
So we turn now to Mishaberach for healing, turning to page 253 in our prayer books. There's a lot of suffering happening in the world around us, and there are members of our community, our family, our friends who are in need of healing. Our hearts reach out to all those we name as well as those we can never be able to name. This Shabbat we hold in our hearts Ira Altshuler, Lauren Bush, Frank Carl, Lou Salenzi, Dean Damick, Alice Elias, Rose Ferraro, Jim Goldman, Lois Foreman, John Hickson, Natalie Klein, Susan Kennedy, Ethel Kennedy, Jean Laga, Albert Lepre, Mark Lovner, Hindasara Batfana Pearl, Elaine Lesgold, Mary Ann Linden, Mary Litzel, Ann Mallinger, Marlene Marcus, Edward Mims, Jim Newman, Joanne Newman, Levander Payne, Hafazan Esther Rachel Bat Malka, Jackie Student, David Ben Sharon, Ellen Saikov, John Spear, Marcia Stewart, Ami Vogel, Ron Watsman, Lee Willis. And if you're online, you'd like to text us a name, Don will share those.
Lee Kramer, that's Till Worcester.
Karen Murray, Jamie McLean,
Go ahead.
Ira Frank.
Continue with Misha Berach, page 253, prayer for healing of body and renewal of spirit. So I'd like to share a few words with you about this week's Torah portion. It's called Nitzavim, and it comes from the ending, chapter 30, not the very end, but getting close to the end of Deuteronomy and Moses' last speech. Nitzavim happens to fall pretty much every year, either on this week right before Shabbat or next week. It's perfectly placed by our rabbinic sages so that we would always hear these words right as we're about to enter into the new year. Those words, I know you'll recognize them. We also say them, also read from this portion on Yom Kippur in Reformed congregations. I call heaven and earth to witness before you this day. I put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life, that you and your descendants may live. A lot of emphasis in our tradition about life. I remember 20 years ago, 9/11, that this was the portion that it was in this week's portion when the terrorist attack happened on our country. And I remember being overwhelmed that week with this idea that while some people in the world were actively engaged in unspeakable terror and focused on death, Jewish tradition was calling on us to choose life. I just kept thinking about that through that whole week, and it was very overwhelming and powerful notion to me. So in this passage, Moses makes clear that he is speaking across the generations, not only to the people that were in front of him, and then every person who was there, from it singles people out, every single individual, men, women, and children, from the leaders of the people, specifically mentions manual laborers, wood choppers, and even those who are not yet present to hear him speak, and sets this whole Torah out for everyone in the community. And Moses calls on us, on the people then and the people today, to return to God, a return to Torah, return to this framework for life. And it's interesting because Moses' speech reads kind of like an answer to every objection that you might hear. So someone might say, well, it's just too hard. It's too hard to follow these traditions, to follow these laws. And it says, nope, it's not too hard. It's right before you. It's right in your mouth. Or it's so far away, I can't even understand how to start that. And says, it's not on the other side of the sea. It's right before you. This is really powerful. It's as if Moses is talking to just someone who just keeps saying, no, I can't do that. So this is the reading. Surely this teaching, which I enjoin upon you this day, is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond reach. You can understand it, you can reach it. It is not in the heavens that you should say, who among us can go up to the heavens and get it for us and impart it to us that we may do it. In other words, it's not just for the pious, the extra righteous, it's for all of us. Neither is beyond the sea that you should say, who among us can cross to the other side of the sea and get it for us and impart it to us that we may do it. No, the thing is very close to you, in your own mouth and in your own heart, that you may do it. Again, see, I set before you this day life and goodness and death and evil. And in fact, it was this Torah of turning, of returning, of doing this tshuva, this work of repentance, as we call it in English, but this idea of coming back to our best selves. It's as if almost no one has strayed too far. Moses tells us, even if you are scattered at the ends of the world, from there God will gather you and bring you back. And it's not meant to be literal, but bring you back close to God, close to Torah, close to the Jewish people. As a rabbi, Jonathan Kleeker, is a Reconstructionist rabbi, he says, and I love what he says about it, he says, we have a noble task to perform to expand our sense of the possible. We are to do tshuva and align our beliefs about ourselves with our true and magnificent potential. Isn't it wonderful to be reminded of our true and magnificent potential right as we go into this period of time of the High Holy Days? He says we are to choose life and aliveness so that, as Moses says, we and our descendants may live long upon the good earth the Creator has granted to us. This is the message of the High Holy Days, he says. So this passage always reminds me of one of Mary Oliver's poems. It's called The Summer Day, and she ends that poem, this beautiful poem about nature, and she says, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? What do you plan to do? As we enter this Rosh Hashanah, what do we plan to do with our one wild and precious life? I love the boldness of the question. I love that she calls our lives wild and precious. And I especially love how she uses the word plan. What do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. What do we plan to do with our lives? We are well aware that we cannot plan everything. It's not worth talking about all the things that can happen, that can go wrong. We are living through COVID, for goodness sake. But we're also well aware, and the High Holy Days are here to remind us, that we can definitely plan, and we should plan, and we can dream, and we should dream, and we can pray, and we should pray about the changes we would like to make, ways we'd like to change in our wild and precious lives. And the Torah portion tells us that we're capable of it. It's not too far away. We can get it. And when things don't work out the way we have planned, we can plan how we're going to respond. This word pivot showed up in the last 18 months. Most of us don't like pivot because it means having to make a new plan. But it's true. We can grow despite the circumstances. And one more observation, I'm trying to keep it rather short tonight. We have a lot of services ahead of us. The portion begins with a call to all of us. The text says kulchem, all of, and it means, usually the way we understand it, kulchem is all of the people of Israel, and everyone's named, right? The woodcutter and the water carrier and all the men, women, and children. It's meant to make sure that we don't exclude anyone and that we don't excuse ourselves. But there's another interpretation of kulchem, which can mean all of you, or all of you, as in all of you, your full, present, whole self. And I really like that as well. So it's not only all of us, but with our full selves. So as we approach Rosh Hashanah in just a couple of days, may each one of us, every single one of us, put our whole and full selves into this really exciting and optimistic work of tshuva, of returning to our best selves so that we can live our best lives and our world can return to wholeness as well. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. We turn now to Aleinu, page 282 in our prayer books, and please rise in body and or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may, if you can, please remain standing for Kaddish, which is on page 294. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and all those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us: Stuart Adelkoff, Marcia Fedotin, Frank Friedel, Donovan Hughes, Bernice, Dolly, Landy, Jim McKenna, Joseph Teitelbaum. Also, my aunt Doreen Zisla was on the Misha Baruch list for many, many months. She's my mother's older sister, and she died on September 1st, just 2 days ago. We also remember those who died at the season in years past, whose yahrzeit we mark on the Shabbat. Emmanuel Ackerman, Bruce Americus, Marvin Apple, James Balter, Milton Berkman, Harriet Cohen, Alan Gerson, Robert Goldsmith, Jeanette Joseph, Nathan Cart, Robert Lovner, Bob Reichblum, Frank Rosenfeld, Dorothy Schumann, Jacob Spear, Carl Stam, Fanny Stern, Theodore DeBatchnik, Samuel Thomas, Bernard Weinberg, Ruth Westerman. Are there any other names from the room and also from online?
George Jaunty Crane,
Lily Selznick Lefkowitz, Sidney Kaplan, Herbert Student, Lawrence Layton, Richard Longini, Shani Selkovitz.
Anyone else? Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for blessing. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shamei rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei
shmei
Rabba
Rabba
mevarach
mevarach
le'olam
le'olam
olamei
omei
almaya.
almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudashah
Berichu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tishbachata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mormav, huya aseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, v'yoseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Just a few moments, we'll conclude the service with Adon Olam, page 321, candle, Kiddush and Motzi, but I have a couple things to tell you mostly about High Holy Day services. Thank you for wearing masks at services, and we'll be continuing to require people to wear masks during all of our High Holy Day services. That begins with Erev Rosh Hashanah and ends with Simchat Torah a couple weeks later. For anyone who still needs to register for in-person services, Bill, are you doing it? Kristen? Bill and Kristen? Kristen? Say something. They're both doing it. Okay. Bill and Kristen will be out in the lobby to register you. It really takes just a moment. You can also do it on the website. There's a High Holy Day link, top of the page, the first page. Just click there and register. All of our services for the High Holy Days will take place in this room. All the times are on the website as well. If you are choosing to worship from home, we'll be broadcasting our services through Rodef Shalom's YouTube and Facebook pages. And again, those links can be found on our website. And if you'd like a prayer book, a machzor, which is the High Holy Day prayer book, if you'd like a machzor, you can still get them at the front desk. Security will take care of it for you on your way out tonight. And if you can't do that, you can call Paige and she can set you up with prayer books, with machzorim for the High Holy Days.
There are also online flip books for those, in case you can't pick one up.
So thank you to Dawn and to Molly for just making everything so beautiful. Thank you to Tim and to Terry for lighting Shabbat candles and for your participation this evening. What, Bill? Luke. And Luke is awesome up there. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Bill. Okay, Adon Olam, page 321.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. B'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. She drank some, I saw.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Come get some challah. We have a knife. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Look forward to seeing you for Rosh Hashanah.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Have a sweet and a healthy.
Shabbat shalom, Jeff. Hey.
Yeah, thank you.
Shabbat shalom, Peter. Shabbat shalom, John. Shabbat shalom, Jay. Shabbat shalom, Carolyn. Shabbat shalom, Jay. Twice. And Shabbat shalom, Peter.
Shabbat
everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Hey, remember,
Shabbat
everyone. Thanks and Shabbat shalom to Don.
Shabbat shalom. Bye.
Shana Tova, everyone. To
Shana
everybody.
Tova. Hey,
Shana
can I
Tova.
make it a little announcement here? Services next week for High Holidays will be on Zoom. Will not be on Zoom. They'll be on YouTube, and the link is on the website. It'll also be on Facebook. Okay, thanks.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Lashana Tova.
Shana
Shana
Tova,
Tova.
Shabbat shalom, all of you. Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.